Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is Indie Likes Books. I am Indie and I like books. Today we're going to be going through my Romantasy Bingo TBR. So this bingo board has been created by Covers with Cassidy. I will link her below. So this challenge starts at the beginning of November 2025 to the end of October 2026. You may notice that my board looks a little bit different to the official board, and that's purely because I needed to make a version that I could print off and stick into my journal. It's not because I didn't like Cassidy's design, it's just I needed something linear. There is a hard mode for this challenge. I'm not going to be going through the hard mode. I'm just going to be going through what is on the board. Some of my books may match the hard mode. I'll probably go back retrospectively and check that out. But I'm here for a fun time, not a hard time. So let's just jump straight into it. We will start on the top left and work our way through down to the bottom right. And I will pop the prompts up this side and my books this side if I don't have them to hand. So prompt number 1 is a new release. We're starting off strong. Haven't picked one for this yet. I think for this prompt, the idea is that you read a book that's been released that year, and I'm probably not going to read one for it this year, so I'll wait until 2026, see what comes out. I do have a lot of pre-orders for next year of new releases, one of those being Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter, so that will probably fill up this space, but I'm not certain. Number 2, we've got Hidden Identity, and I'm going with Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. This one has been really popular. This is my Fairylit edition, and I will be honest, I do prefer the standard version, so I might actually sell this one and then buy this in paperback when it comes out with the cool cover. However, the hardback is pretty cool. If you don't know anything about this book, it is about a female knight called Grey, and in this world there's mages and they have knights that look after them. Grey, from what I can tell, is a little bit in love with her mage who's called Kia, but Grey's also hiding a secret in where she is the heir to a lost land called Locke, hence the title. And if she dies, all magic will die with her. And that's what I know about this. I've heard really, really good things about it, and I'm very excited to read it. So this will probably try and get onto my TBR early in the year. Next up, we have got Take Down the System. And for this, I'm reading The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I'm yet to read any Rachel Gillig, but you will see that she reoccurs on this list quite a few times. This one came out in 2025. It's been very popular. There have been some mixed reviews. A lot of people who absolutely love the One Dark Window Shepherd's thingy didn't particularly like this one. So this is about a diviner, and she is part of a group of women that give up 10 years of their lives to be diviners. It's not very pleasant. They get drowned, and that's how they see people's futures. And one by one, the main character's sisters, the other diviners, are disappearing, and she wants to find out what the fuck is going on. There is a knight who comes to visit her. He doesn't really believe in what she does, but he decides that he will help her try and find out what's happening. And that's the basic premise and what I know about this book. Again, very excited for this one. It sounds good and I love this cover. And I'm assuming the system they're taking down is the whole diviner system and all of that. But I think I found this on a list on Storygraph for this challenge, for this bingo challenge. So hopefully it fits the bill. If not, I'll find somewhere else for it to go. And next up, we have got a Romantasy by a BIPOC author, and I'm going for Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This one is about 16-year-old Brie Matthews whose mother has died, and she ends up going to a school for like super smart children. But when she's there, she witnesses murder. Not just any murder, a magical murder. And that starts up the magic within her. And she starts getting flashbacks to her mother's death. And she wants to find out what the hell's happened. So again, another one that has been very, very popular. From what I've heard, all 3 of the books that have come out, I think it's a trilogy, they've all been really good, which is great because recently I have had heartbreak with a series that just got worse and worse in the last couple of books, and I can't deal with that heartbreak again. So I need a series that's actually good from start to finish, please. And then we've got a nice easy one for the next space, and that is first person, and I'm going with One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig again. So this is the Shepherd's Duology. I keep wanting to call it Shepherd's Hut Duology, and it's definitely not what it's called. Shepherd King Duology. So this is a gothic fantasy. I've not read much gothic and enjoyed it previously. I'm not sure if I've read much gothic at all, to be honest. I always think of the classics when I think of gothic, and then I just think of things I was forced to read at school. But this one sounds like fun gothic. It's about a character called Brie. She needs a monster to help her, but there might actually be a monster inside her head called the Nightmare. She then meets this mysterious highwayman, and they go to a place called Blunder and rescue them from dark magic. But this nightmare inside her head is slowly growing and taking over. So what happens next? I don't know. Again, very, very popular. Very, very excited to read it. There's a theme here. I'm excited to read all the books I own. The next square is Blank of Blank, and that means that the title has to have 2 words either side of the word of, and that's it. So Blank of Blank, and I have got Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rurich. Yeah. So in this one, we've got a girl who, yet again, her mother has died. That is a strong theme in Romantasy. She also has 2 sisters, and they are all owned by a ruthless assassin lord man. But somehow Scarlett ends up locked away in a noble's house, and she has to make a deal with him and complete a job for him. And if she does that, then she will be given the ability to seek revenge on the Fey man, king, prince that killed her mother. But then children start disappearing, there's this whole mystery, and I think this is number 1 in like a 5-part series. So as I said earlier, hopefully the whole series is good, because I can't deal with dedicating my life to a 5-part series. It ends up really bad. And then the next square we've got is indie to trad pipeline, so any indie books that's been picked up for traditional publishing. And I have gone with Diabound by Sable Sorensen. This is the lovely Waterstones special edition. I have pre-ordered the next one, despite the fact that I've not yet read this book. So what I've heard is it is like Fourth Wing, but fuck off big dire wolves, and I'm very happy about that. So this book is about Merrin. She is quite poor, living at home with her sister and parents, maybe. Maybe her mum's dead as well, I don't know. And then you've got the Bonded, who are the elite warriors that ride the direwolves. Merrin doesn't like them because they're bowed down to, they got lots of money and she's struggling. However, one day her sister is kidnapped and taken across the border to the enemy lands. And she realises, oh, I need to actually join the war so I can go and rescue my sister. This involves her joining an elite school, and when she's there she passes some exams to be bonded, I think, and she ends up with her own direwolf and ends up being one of the people she hated, but I'm guessing she won't hate them for much longer. I think that's the general gist. They're like mindy with the wolves, so I'm hoping we get some 10 level sass from the direwolves like we get in Fourth Wing, but I don't know. And then we have Rep Matters, and I couldn't find one that was jumping out at me on this one. So if you have any suggestions, please drop them down in the comments. This can be any sort of representation. I think the main reason why I couldn't find one is because I was looking for some like disability rep maybe, and Fourth Wing is obviously the one that jumps out for that, but I've read that. So unless Rebecca Yarros surprises us with the 4th book in the next 6 months, then it's no good for me. So if you can think of any others that have got a really good disability rep, then please let me know in the comments. And then we have got Start a Series. As you can probably tell from my list, I'm starting a lot of series with this, but I decided to go with Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. I've heard really, really good things about this series, and this is one that I got in a random book box last year. And initially I wasn't so sure about it, but the more I've heard about it, the more I want to read it. Came out in 2021, and I think it's one of 4 maybe. And I think this is a romantasy where there isn't actually magic in the world. And it's based in a world where there's like sickness everywhere, and I think everybody has the sickness, but only the rich can afford the cure or like the treatments to keep them alive. And our main character is a bit of a Robin Hood figure, and she steals from the rich and gives to the needy to help keep them alive. But she's realised that actually the way to permanently stop this is to kill off the king. But again, no magic, so interesting premise, this one. And next we have got an urban setting, and for this I'm reading one of the books off my Kindle, which is City of Gods and Monsters. This is book 1 in the House of Devils series by Kayla Edwards. Keen to read it, but it is a big boy. It's about a human who lives in a city that's full of vampires, werewolves, witches, other supernatural creatures, but she is just a bog standard human, but her friend goes missing. So she reluctantly joins up with a supernatural bounty hunter to try and save her friend. As I've said for all of these books, I'm very interested in reading it. It sounds really good, heard really good things, but it is girthy, so we'll see it when I manage to squeeze it onto my TBR. And then if we go on to the next row, we have got Ghouls and Ghosts. This is the first one on the list so far that I don't actually own, whether physically or an ebook, but I want to read For Whom the Bell Tolls. Bell with an E, not the Ernest Hemingway version. This one is by Jessie Lynn, and it is book 1 in the Hell's Bells, great title, series. So this is a story about a woman who dies, basically, and she goes to the afterlife, and it's just not what she expected at all. Unlike most people, she is quite attracted to the idea of hell, and she visits it, and there's a sexy demon there called Belle that she is quite drawn to. But there's something happening beyond the boundaries of where they are that wants to destroy the afterlife, and I'm guessing they got to figure out what that is and stop it. Up next, we have got A Voice Inside Your Head. And for this one, assuming I enjoy One Dark Window, we've got Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. As I said for the first one, she's got some sort of monster in her head that she's called Nightmare. So there we go, a voice in her head. I'm not going to read the blurb. I don't want to know what it's about because I don't want to spoil anything from the first one. So that it's all you're getting. And then we have got a friend rec, and I haven't asked any of my friends for recommendations yet, so I don't have one for this, but at some point I will ask for a recommendation. I do have my TBR game, and on there I've got asked for a recommendation, so if that pops up, then that will match up nicely. But for now, that's an empty square for me. And then we have got a BookTok hype. So I do spend a lot of my life on BookTok, so there was a few different ones for me to choose from, but one that I already own was Zodiac Academy, The Awakening by Carolyn Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. I'm assuming you know what this one is about. It's about twins who have been brought up thinking they're just normal, and then one day somebody turns up and goes, oh, actually, you're the heiresses to this land, but for you to claim that right and lots of money that comes with it, you need to go to this school and complete this school, graduate. But there's a load of lads there who have been training to run this country because the heiresses are lost. They didn't think they were ever going to come back. So when the girls turn up, they're pissed off and they start bullying her. So I don't know how I feel about a bully romance. I've never read a bully romance. I will tentatively start off with this one, see how I feel. If I like it, then there's a bloody lot more books to read. If I don't like it, then I don't like it. I've got plenty of other BookTok hyped books that I can replace this with, but I don't want to give it a try. This is a real love-hate one. It is meant to be trashy. I quite like trashy, so I think I'll enjoy it, but depends on the level of trash, you know? And then we have got a forbidden romance, and this is another one on the list that I don't actually own, and I wanted to go with Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. This one is a Norse retelling. I'm a bit scared to go into this one because I've heard the first one is great and the second one is not. I don't think I had mixed reviews on the second one. I think I just heard that people didn't really enjoy it. So I may change my mind later on in the year, but I do love a bit of Norse mythology and retellings. And this one's about Shield Maiden, who is fighting to unite a nation with a king whose son is a little bit tasty and she kind of wants a bit of him. And then heading down to the next row, we've got Trials. And for Trials, I want to read Arcana Academy. I have got this one on my Kindle, not a physical copy, which is a real shame because there are some beautiful special editions out there. But this book is by Elise Cover, and it is set in a magical world where they use tarot cards to cast magic. Our main character forges tarot cards to use, and she gets caught one day and she is imprisoned for life at an academy. But the headmaster of the school sees what a good little thief she is and how good she is at forging things, and says to her if she manages to steal this tarot card from the king, he will let her free. In order for her to do this, she has to join the Arcana Academy as a first year pupil, and there are trials within the school that she has to undertake. So that's how it fits the prompt. Again, this is a very popular one. I've seen nothing but good things about it. Very excited to read it. And then we have got 2+ love interest, and I'm going for Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is about a girl who is once again an orphan. 2 dead parents this time, not just one. And she has been raised by lots of guardians who always die. Her final living family members are the Hawthorns, and she goes to live with them, but a spirit turns up and says that it's been murdered and the Hawthorns might be in trouble. So she's on the case, she wants to figure out what's going on. Throughout this, there is a stable boy, she meets Death. I know she has some sort of romantic connection with Death. I don't know if the stable boy is the other love interest, but I know there's at least 2 boys she's interested in. Mixed reviews on this one. My mum read it, she really didn't like it, but then other people have read it and they do like it, so we will see. And I think this is one of 3, is it a trilogy? Or is there 4 of them? I don't know, but getting myself into a lot of series this year. And then we have got Single POV, and I read Quicksilver by Callie Hart for this. I only finished this a couple of days ago. I absolutely loved it, gave it 5 stars. I am in a little bit of a slump now. It's giving me a little bit of a book hangover. So this book is about Ceres Fane. She lives in a world where water is very hard to come by if you're poor. She lives in the 3rd, which I think is like the poorest area. The queen, all of her fancy pants people, they have loads of water. But she doesn't. And because of that, she needs to steal shit. She also has a dead mother. Anyway, and she gets caught stealing, and she's going to get executed, but ends up in a fairyland instead with Kingfisher. When she's there, it turns out that she is actually an alchemist, and she can save their land from this war that they are part of, where they're fighting vampires. I didn't know there was vampires in this, but there's vampires. I just really enjoyed it. The characters were all amazing. It fits the prompt of single POVs. It's only from Ceres's point of view. I do think Brimstone is Kingfisher and Ceres's point of view. If I can swap something out on here for Brimstone, I probably will, because I do really want to read that. ASAP. So the next prompt is a court setting, and I'm going to read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is another vampire book. This is about a human who's been adopted by the vampire king, and for her to secure her place in the world, she needs to take part in some trials, which are held by the goddess of death. The other contestants are all vampire house heirs, so that's where the courts come into it. She needs to work with a sexy vampire man who I'm assuming she is going to fall in love with at some point. I could be wrong. Don't tell me. I want it to be a surprise. Again, another really, really popular one on Book Talk, and I just adore this cover so much more than the old covers. I just really like the colours. Don't you dare close your eyes. So the next one is A Whole New World, and that is where a character is portaled into a completely new world. So a bit like what happens in Quicksilver, but obviously I squeezed that into another prompt. I have decided to go with Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. This isn't one that I own, but I did see today that it is part of the 3 for £7.50 deals at the Works, so I'm going to go and pick it up from there. I think this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling about a woman. She loves fairy tales. She never knew she was going to end up in one. Her father wanders into a fey realm. She needs to follow him to save him. And there is a beast there who is cursed. So yes, very much a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Again, I think this is one of maybe 4 books, so hopefully I like it and I can start another series along with the other 300 I'm going to be starting next year, it seems. And on to the final row. The first prompt is Reluctant Allies to Lovers, and for this one I have gone for Mate by Ali Hazelwood, which I read and I loved it. It doesn't quite count as a romantasy, but there is romance, paranormal romance, it counts, okay? This is about a character who has found out some things about herself that I don't want to say because I don't want to ruin the first book, and she has to be protected by Cohen, who is the pack leader of the Southwest Pack, I want to say, Northwest Pack. The reason why they're reluctant allies is because he doesn't want to be protecting her. He doesn't want to be around her because he doesn't want to have all these feelings swooshing up around her. And she just thinks he's a bit of an asshole. So they're very reluctant, but they have to work together or else she is going to die. Then they become lovers. So the next prompt is one word title, and I'm going to go with Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I know I haven't read Phantasma. Have I been living under a rock? Quite possibly. This is another trials-based book. There is a main character, her sister goes missing. To get her sister back, she has to take part in and win a trial. Probably don't need to say more about it because I'm pretty sure most people on the planet who like romantasy and trial books have read this book. And then we have got a shifter romance, which I'm really excited about. I think hard mode was to not have the shifter be a wolf, but I'm going to have a wolf because I like wolves. And I'm going for The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman. Yeah, let's go with that. I do own this book on Kindle, and I have just ordered the Fairy Loot Special Edition purely because there's a man on the naked hardcover in a kilt, and I just go a bit feral for men in kilts. So this is a story about a princess who's kidnapped by a werewolf after she spares his life at some dogfight thing. She shouldn't fancy him, but she absolutely does. He's a hot werewolf man. As the attraction grows, he realises that she is in danger not only from his enemies but also from his friends, and he needs to protect her. So there's wars raging and also some battle with her. So this is definitely an enemies, reluctant allies to lovers sort of thing. It just sounds right up my alley. We've then got a weapon on the cover, and I'm going for Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. Schurer, yeah. This is book 1 in the Legends of Thesmar series. This is based in a misogynistic land where women aren't allowed to become warriors, but the main character, Althea, has only got 3 years to live and she wants to become a bloody warrior, so she's going to make it happen. So there's initiation tests, she's fighting against the people that probably don't want her there because, oh no, she's got boobs. And she's going to prove them all wrong, I know she is. Why would you write a book where she doesn't? But this is one that's been on my radar for ages. I've got friends who absolutely adore this. Again, I'm really excited to read it. I wonder if her mum's dead too. And then finally, we've got a chunky series, and that is any book within a 4+ book series. I had an easy win because I was starting the 5th book in the Black Witch Chronicles on audiobook in October, so that has gone towards this box. I mentioned a couple of times within this video that there was a series I listened to recently where the last book was absolute trash and I was heartbroken because I'd invested so much time in it. That is this series. The 5th book was called The Dryad Storm. I should say as well, the author is Laurie Forrest. Honestly, I was nearly giving this series 5 stars in the first couple of books, even the 3rd book, and then 4 and 5 crashed and burned. I think I gave this one 2.5. Initially follows a character called Elerin. She's the granddaughter of the Black Witch who saved her people from a war against another realm. She's been raised away from all of this by her uncle Edwin, but she decides she wants to go to university and he reluctantly allows her to go because it keeps keeps her away from her evil aunt, basically. And when she's at the school, she is thrown into a world where there's lots of prejudice, there's other beings there, so you've got like different types of fae and people from different parts of their world, and then you have her side, which are the mages, and the mages are just abhorrent racists, basically, and she's trying to fight against that and figure out where she stands amongst all of these people. It's really good. It's really, really good. In the first like 3 books, the first 2 are set at the school, the third one they're all kind of going off, and then books 4 and 5 just get so muddied with a ridiculous amount of characters. In the final book, so I listened to an audiobook, you don't even get Elleren's point of view until 7 hours into the audiobook, and that's it, we're done. That is my TBR. As I said, there's a few on there where I don't have any books. If you have any recommendations for me, please leave them in the comments below. Let me know what you think of my other choices. Are they all accurate? As I said, some of them I wasn't completely certain if they actually fit the prompt, so if they don't, let me know. And if you know something that better that fits the prompts, then also let me know about that. And subscribe, follow along. I'm trying to bring out videos twice a week, but I was really ill last week, so there was nothing. But I'll get better as we go. Thanks for watching. Bye.